We're moving next to our guest of honor, Vivek Ranjan Agnihotri. And for our audience that is not familiar with the Indian film industry, you may think, who is this guy and why is he your guest of honor? For those of us who watch Indian films, we all know who Vivek Ji is. He's a prominent figure in contemporary Indian cinema and literature, recognized for his thought-provoking creations and insightful commentary on social and political issues. Vivek Ji has produced 10 award-winning films. His groundbreaking film, Kashmir Files, exposed the horrendous massacre of Hindus in the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir in the late 1980s, long covered up by the Indian media. He won 2 National Film Awards for Kashmir Files. Beyond cinema, Vivek Ji is also an acclaimed writer. His incisive works as a public intellectual have sparked vital conversations on human rights and political corruption. He has 4 bestsellers to his credit. His engagement with diverse audiences, from TED Talks to Harvard University conclaves, alongside his leadership roles in various cultural and film institutions, underscores his multifaceted influence. Vivek Ji's relentless pursuit for the truth has stirred the national conscience in India and has made a global impact outside it. And let me now pass the rostrum on to Vivek Ji, who will share a few words with you.
Hello everyone. आप सबको दिवाली की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। मैं बैठूं उसके पहले I should congrats and wish you all a happy Diwali.
So Vivek Ji thought we should lighten up the mood, and I should ask him about the latest Bollywood gossip.
Let's keep it for the end.
We'll try to stay on topic a little bit, and then we can move off to some other things. We've had a very deep conversation that's been initiated by Renee Ji, her comments, and of course our whole mission with Disha is increasing political awareness among the Hindu community here in Houston. What are your thoughts on the level of political awareness Hindus globally that you've engaged with?
I personally believe that there are always 2 stories going on in this world, and it's all a game of narratives. And if you really want a place under the sun, if you really want to show light to people, it's very important that you are in a position where you can influence policies. Otherwise, what's the point of all the activism cannot change the destiny of the future? So that's why it's very important that we take active role in politics, and especially in the US. I've been coming here very often, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong. Yesterday, a very learned person told me that we Indians contribute almost 70% taxes. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I was told by one of the organizers, if it's true, then I think it's time we become a very, very important, powerful voice. And there's a reason why I say that. For Hindus, it's very critical that on a global world, in global politics, wherever they are, US, UK, Germany, wherever they are, it's very important for them to get elected, to get into elected representation. And my reason, I'll tell you why, because today the world is going through a massive conflict. We have never seen a world like this where everything has become fleeting because of the technology, and technology is moving faster than the human mind can ever evolve. We can never catch up that pace, and therefore we are feeling that there is a lot of conflict. Whoever you talk to, not about posturing. See, when we posture, we say everything is wonderful and beautiful, but inside everybody knows there is not even one family where people are not talking about conflict right now. There is so much of division because of the algorithm. So there is an artificial algorithm which is dividing the society everywhere. And it is also putting these grassroots level conflicts into mainstream narrative. Now, either we can continue like this, and right now there are 2-3 major wars are going on, and there is a possibility of more wars. So what is the solution? I believe if conflict is the problem, then the only answer can come from Hindu philosophy. It is impossible that it can come from anywhere else, because every single belief system is like people who are in IT would know. Most of the belief systems in this world, faith systems, are closed source systems, which means you cannot change anything. There is one book, there is one law, one regime, one ideology. You cannot make any change. And when you cannot change and we cease to be human beings, then we are just like a piece of stone in a wall. To bring change, you need open source faith system. There is only one open source faith system in this entire world. There are 3,000 religions, 3,000 faith systems. There is only one where you can be anything. And that's why I say Hindu philosophy, because there is nothing which can say you are a Hindu. Right? In most of the faith systems, if you read a book or follow that book, you are either a Muslim or a Christian or somebody else. This is the only faith system where you don't have to read any book, don't have to follow any God. You can be anything. It's an ever-evolving faith system. Therefore, the only answer to conflict would be when a faith system drives you to be inclusive, and with inclusion, you find liberation. So all these principles of freedom, justice, and liberation are ingrained organically, naturally in Hindu faith system. And therefore, I think Hindus in US should lead and show light to a conflicted society. Give them, show them, demonstrate them how people with different agendas can happily live in a joint family. Start inviting more non-Hindus to your weddings. Show them this is how it is done. And I think that's the best way to demonstrate democracy.
That's a very powerful sentiment you've shared, and a very heavy burden you're placing on the shoulders of a Hindu community that's not even 1% of the US population. How do you see us being able to bring out these aspects of peaceful coexistence, of open-mindedness, as you put it, an open source system? How do you see us bringing that forward to a larger community?
See, what you are doing is one step, but I have a very different view on this. What is happening is, because people have found social media, so everybody is doing the same thing. Okay, people are building narratives in the same way. Every single person is doing the same thing. That will lead you nowhere. I believe that everybody is born with a special talent, certain skill which nobody else has. So use your talent and skill to take the narrative forward. And Hinduism doesn't mean staying away from politics. The Hindu philosophy begins with politics. Anybody who is aware of Mahabharata, it's all politics. I'm making a film, 3-part movie on Mahabharata now, and I'm reading it. And the whole thing is, dharma is not something which is very pure and sacred, and we try to make romanticize dharma. Dharma is something else. Dharma is primarily how to do the right thing in a wrong situation. Everybody can do right thing in the right situation. So therefore it shows you the path. If your society is conflicted, if people are dividing, what responsibility and roles you play, that is dharma. So the whole thing begins with politics. Ramayana, these are the two main texts. Ramayana begins with the politics, domestic politics, about the power. And so I think it's very, very important. Even if you're a housewife, you can play you can use your talent and skill in a way to influence people. And normally, this world is all about, has become about spectacle. Everybody wants big thing. You think you are not doing anything great if it's not big. It's all about numbers. Oh, this function has got 500 people, 1,000 people, and that's how we demonstrate our importance, but that's not right. In Hinduism is the only system which looks at the macro and micro both. And today is a time when we have to work at a micro level. You are talking about democracy. A single vote matters. That's what you are saying. And I say a single voice matters. Everybody has to speak up, not speak up to protest, but to draw a bigger line in this conflicted world, show them the path, show them what it means. We are the only, people who do not know, Hindu society is the only society in the history of humankind which has given birth to the world's 4 most peaceful religions. Show me any other place where it's possible, which means we are a very fertile land for peace, non-violence and truth.
You referenced social media algorithms, and you've referenced the idea that social media is actually a cause of the sense of conflict we're having right now. And can you share with us your ideas, though? How can social media be used in a positive way, or is social media's impact always negative?
I don't know how social is this social media. I seriously don't know. But all I say is, do not become victim of algorithm. Create your own algorithm. Don't go after numbers. The biggest mistake anybody can make, and I'm telling you through experience, we were the first founders of this great India narrative in 2008 when there was no BJP, no Mr. Modi. Nobody knew what was going to happen. And we started 3 or 4 people, Rajiv Malhotra ji in New Jersey, me in India, and we started working on that. And we realized that if you really, really want to use social media effectively, the first thing you have to do is forget about the numbers. It doesn't matter, because numbers will force you to say things which is contrary to your own personality. You'll end up, it's like a wholesale thing. You sell what sells most. So don't do that. Use your own understanding, your own learnings, and try to communicate that. Talk about the greatness which you have experienced, and don't force yourself, I'm a Hindu, therefore I have to say great things about Hinduism. I think people who are also showing the other side, people who are trying to correct, people who are trying to adjust to the changing times, are doing a far, far better job to the evolution of Hinduism than just the people who are using social media just to self-praise. Self-praise is no praise. Therefore, wherever you need to criticize, change old traditional regressive practices, become modern, adapt to the new system, become more science-friendly. Don't be an enemy of science. Don't think science is use science. And the entire ancient wisdom of Hinduism is very scientific, based on science. Because, wait, I'll give you an opportunity to chat just a second. And what I'm saying is very important. 5,000 years ago, we wrote a scientific formula in 2 different formulas, but say the same thing. One, Tattvamasi, which means you are that, you are the God. And therefore in Hinduism, there is no God you have to follow Hinduism. You can be anti-God. You can abuse God and still be a great Hindu. So you don't have to, there is no compulsion to follow any God. It says because it believes you have the same power as God. That divine is inside you. Tell me which other faith system says that. And now what does science say? Lots of people who know science must be sitting here. What the modern science says, the particle science and the quantum physics, what does it say? It says that the smallest particle in your body has exactly the same power as the cosmic energy. Isn't it? And so these are all formulas. Aham Brahmasmi. I am this world. I am this cosmos. Once you actually believe in that, will find that you cannot do anything which is not divine. The moment you realize this, you become a divine soul. And if you are not a divine soul, what is the point of bragging about Hinduism? Our objective should be to show the path to the world, and that's what I have been doing for so long. If you look at all my speeches, whatever I write, my books and everywhere, I am trying to tell the younger generation that don't be embarrassed. Don't treat it like a religion. Hinduism is a great philosophy. If war is the problem, Hindu philosophy is the answer. That's what I think.
We just heard some of your thoughts on social media, but you've made your career in a more traditional form of media, film. Would you like to share and you mentioned you're doing a film on Mahabharata. Why don't you tell us more about that and maybe some of your other upcoming film projects?
Right now I'm doing a great project, but first let me thank the people of Houston. And when we were making the Kashmir Files, when we made that film, we didn't know whether it's going to get released or not. There were lots of problems. COVID was also there. And that time, Houston showed us the light. Houston showed the path. My friend Surinder Kalji is here. And a whole lot of people, Anant is here. A whole lot of people came together. And they said, this is not your film anymore, this is our film. And massive screenings they did here, and that triggered a movement. And that made people aware about what happened in Kashmir. So taking that idea forward, now we are making the last part of the trilogy. It's called the Delhi Files Bengal chapter. That's the movie I'm making right now, because India's freedom movement actually took place in Bengal. And I don't know if people know, and I don't want to bore them, but I'll keep it very short. Muslim League, which was led by Jinnah, they called for a direct action day in Calcutta to force the partition. And 10,000 Hindus were killed in 2 days. In 2 days. And then a butcher, who's Hindu butcher, he was a Brahmin. His name was Patha. Patha in Bengali means goat. Cut goats, that's why he was called goat. His real name was Gopal Das Mukhopadhyay. And that butcher, Hindus were all divided. There were Marwadis, there were Sikhs, there were Jains, there were all kinds of people used to live in Calcutta. Calcutta at that time was one of the biggest financial capitals of the world. So this butcher said the only way to fight, the reason we can't fight these people is because we are all fragmented. Marwadis are holding the money, Sikhs are doing something else. So he united all of them overnight, in one night. They united, they said, okay, everybody doesn't have to fight. On the street, you are Marwadi, you have money, give us money. Somebody, the Sikhs had a lot of World War II, had ended, so they had lots of guns. So they said, because they had gone to the war, so he said, okay, you come with your guns. So like that, he brought everybody together. And within 2 days, Hindus retaliated, and then at that time the Chief Minister of Bengal was Suhrawardi. He was the second in command after Jinnah. And he said, this is what I fear, for Hindus to get united. And they had to withdraw at that time. So this demonstrates that a fragmented society, when it comes together, it can fight the mightiest of the people, whether it was Britain or whether it was Muslim League. It's another thing that in Noah Khalid killed lots of people. The reason I'm making this film is demonstrate to the world, to illustrate to the world. Today everybody says save tiger, everybody says this building is a UNESCO, a UNO heritage building. Why do we say that? Because it's very, very precious. Okay? Second thing, and it's very important, just this is the last thing I want to say, I'll take this opportunity, and I want everybody to listen to this very carefully. We are talking all the time about oppressed people. Especially in America, I have noticed the entire narrative is about us, people who are oppressing people who are oppressed. And we are very, very sympathetic. We have a lot of compassion for people who have done things like slavery. Okay? In the history of humanity, there has been only one society which was enslaved by two different faith systems, one for 800 years and the next one for 250 years. I have seen with my eyes in Calcutta in the research of this film, the Delhi Files, they still have preserved so many clubs and shops, they said dogs and Indians not allowed. When the Mughals were ruling us for 800 years, they would pick up anybody and hang them or cut them into 1,000 pieces. They would say convert to Islam, otherwise they will kill you. In Kashmir that kept happening for 70 years, so for 1075 years, Hindus have been oppressed by the world powers. All I am saying is, please do not expect too much, give us some breathing time. It's been just 70 years we have found freedom. So don't jump and say this is not right, that's not right. When you talk about Hinduism in global sense, it's very important that the entire world looks at it as a heritage. We were the first society which created great philosophy, great science. We spread the word. We said the entire world is one. And Maharshi Ramanna, somebody asked how to treat others. He said there are no others. The entire philosophy of Shiva or anybody is based on oneness. So Hindus are very, very important part of this global world, and I think the global power should look at us as, like they say, UN heritage building. They should look at Hinduism as the world's heritage and protect it, nurture it, let it grow. Otherwise, I don't know, this world is going to be in a bad shape. By the way, this film is coming next year on 15th of August, 2025, and I think it's very, very important film. If Kashmir Files disturbed you, after seeing the truth of Kashmir disturbed you, after seeing the truth of Bharat in this film, will destroy you, I promise you. So see only if you have a strong heart.
You're continuously sharing very powerful sentiments in your presentation. And I'm, of course, wanting to end on a high note and a light note. So, back to the Bollywood gossip. I'm just kidding. Anything else you'd like to share in closing?
First of all, Bollywood is not an office where you go in the morning and come out. It's too many people doing too many things. What happened was that Bollywood films started working a lot in US and UK. So they thought that, okay, this is what the NRI audience likes. So they started making films like that. And I'm sorry, no comment on the audience, but I understand. And therefore the quality of Hindi films started dropping. And now the biggest problem with Bollywood films is again NRIs. And if you want to change the quality of cinema, everybody I meet, they come and tell me, Vivek ji, do something about Bollywood film. They spread such wrong narratives. I cannot do it. The power is with you. You are talking about one vote, the power of one vote. There's a power of one ticket also. Why are you promoting bad films if you don't like them? And ask yourself a question. Ask yourself a question. See, writing on social media is one thing, but translating it into practice is another thing. Why do filmmakers like me have to struggle to make a film, market it and distribute? And why people who are doing everything which is against your value system, you queue up like anything. I've seen if today the people you talk about, if Shah Rukh Khan comes, I guarantee you everybody will leave me and they will just run and out for that. You think, I'm just showing you a mirror, you have to think about it. Right? So Hinduism you cannot promote just by writing on social media, unless and until you have successful products in your hands, successful books, successful films. How many books you have bought? So many books have come about Hindu, this thing in last 5 years. How many have you bought? You may not even know the name of authors. How many films which we are making these days, do you realize what kind of struggle we have to go through? How much we have to sacrifice? We are actually actually putting our lives out there on the border, right? So promote those people. वो धर्म है, वो पुण्य का काम है. That is really good, sacred. People who are fighting for your cause, it is your duty to help, support and promote them. When you call them to US, give them money. Because you invest a lot of money in Shah Rukh Khan tickets, Salman Khan tickets. When they come for concerts, you go out of your way, you spend $1,000, $5,000. But these poor young people, middle class young people, if they are fighting for your cause, empower them. Otherwise, what will happen, that the way politics is shifting in India, very soon the other side will lure them with money and you lose all of them. Right? So protect them, bring them to you, keep them there. That's all I want to do.
Thank you again, Vivek ji.
As far as you asked me about the gossip, I don't know, there is no new gossip because all the gossips have been overshadowed by a wedding which took almost 1 year to complete. So somebody has to do better than that.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's thank again Vivek ji for his words of wisdom.
My heartfelt wishes for Diwali, and Diwali means moving forward. I hope all of us will move forward from there. Thank you very much, and go and vote and make America proud of your vote. Thank you.